Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. It seems like we as a society we are pushed to venerate the form rather than the substance in issues and even in our values or day-to-day objects that we buy. If it looks good, should be more desirable than if it's more functional. So looks good but lasts 3 days, doesn't look that good but lasts a lifetime. We are to pick the one that looks good for 3 days instead of looking not as good and lasts lifetime. There is a degrading of a certain view of life. I remember when I was a child, my parents and their friends, when they were talking about something made in the USA, that was like the best quality. United States and West Germany. These were the two countries that you wanted things out of if you would buy something. Why? Because they were made always of the greatest quality. I don't think you can say the same thing nowadays, but nevertheless, I will give you an example. I see many cyclists who are very well dressed, so the form looks great. The bicycles are, $7,000, $5,000, great bicycles, speed bikes, very nice, very light, very performant. And they, the bikers, bicyclists, they have all the attire, beautiful, beautiful. Maybe $2,000 in all the glasses, the gloves, those tight clothes, the pants, and the helmets. They're like professionals. You might think they will break a world record when you see them on the street. And then they go for a ride, right? With all this form. The form is fantastic. Everything looks extraordinary. You know what doesn't look extraordinary? Their records. They're gonna ride about, 10 miles and then come back home. With a speed bike over $7,000, with a tire about $2,000 or $3,000 on them. Everything looks professional. But the heart is weak. Well, this is what I got to see in this, for instance, this situation, this war in Ukraine. I can see some form and I can see some substance. Or I see children versus adults, and I like the adults. And it's not hard to realize who's the adult in these two camps. When in one side you see the big talk, the megaphone, democracy, and the diplomacy, and the other one, the serious one, direct one, and no smiles, no lights, no music. That reminds me of Rocky. What was that? Rocky 3, Rocky 4? Can't remember, with Sylvester Stallone and Dolph Lundgren. When Dolph Lundgren was representing Soviet Union, and he came to United States to fight Rocky, right? Rocky Balboa. And then when he shows up over there, we see James Brown dancing, and I like James Brown a lot. So doesn't matter, he was dancing, all the girls over there, the music, the lights, the smoke, the entertainment. It was beautiful, beautiful. But all that mattered in all that was the value of Rocky, not all that. That was beautiful, it was okay, there was a substance, but then I think he lost then. Right, and then he's going to win when he goes to Soviet Union and wins, right? So that was another example of kind of like a form. I'm not saying you should not have fun when you do stuff, but what I'm trying to say is the form should not be before or be more valuable than the substance. Okay, if you look at a car, it looks excellent but doesn't run. Well, I'm buying a car to drive me from here to there, not to look good and stay here. All right, now that I made all this introduction, what am I talking about? I'm talking about some statements that Vladimir Putin made, and is the fact that the United States provides Ukraine with weapons, with this, with support. We're going to go and we're going to fight till the end. We're going to do this. It's a lot of talk. And yeah, they help. The Ukrainians are giving that and giving one another in a very glittering, beautiful way. Now, this is what Putin says about the last batch of weapons that the United States takes from the how should I put it, indirectly from the taxpayers and give it to Ukraine. Or it just indebts Ukraine or helps Ukraine dig its own hole where it's not going to be able to get out of ever. That means pay back this, because these are, this is an investment, Zelensky said in front of the whistle elected officials, right? Remember? In front of the US Congress. This is not a whatever, it's just it's an investment, It's not, you're not going to give it for nothing. I can't remember the term right now. It's not a charity, it is an investment. Yeah, for some, but not for the American people. And definitely you're going to be digging your own hole. You're not going to be able to climb out of it. So this article comes from Sputnik from today, the 22nd of December 2022. And this is what Putin says. Patriot deliveries to Ukraine will prolong conflict, will not alter its outcome. So it's good. You bring all those, but still we're going to win. So yeah, it's beautiful. Everybody's, yeah, Ukraine, Slava Ukrainka, and so on. That's great. That's great. All this, what I'm trying to say is that Western countries, in this case United States, makes too much of a show. Too much of a, show and symbolism. Zelensky shows up in his little thing over there. They try to make it like he's Churchill. It's another thing. Well, he speaks for the second time. Again, symbolistics. Oh, he's like Netanyahu. He's like Churchill. He's like Mandela. Only those people spoke two times in the US Congress. Oh my God. Oh, yeah, that's so great. Right? He's given the flag. He gives a flag. Signed. All these things. It's so much. Beautiful. Come, little boy here. We're going to use you. Hey, stay here. Vote for me. Yes, here is Zelensky with me. Stay, don't say anything. Yes, I'm the great. Yes, yes, yes. It's all a show. And these guys just walked around over there, Zelensky, back and forth, and he asks for money. He receives the money. He receives the weapons, and everything is beautiful. Wow, look at this thing. And the other guys in the Kremlin are like, kill them. No. Yes. Нет. Da. Давай. Okay, so and then these guys are focused on all the weapons, or the what the fuck you're doing over there, all that Hollywood bullshit won't alter the outcome. So they're focused on that, not on all the substance that the Russians are focused on. These are with, as I said, with the form. Very much involved in the form. Coinciding with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's visit to Washington on Wednesday, Secretary of State Antony Blinken announced a $1.85 billion package of new arms assistance, including a Patriot missile system. Patriot. Moscow has repeatedly warned Western powers of the consequences of weapon assistance to Kiev. The delivery of a battery of Patriot missile systems to Ukraine will prolong the Ukrainian security crisis, but cannot alter its outcome. Russian President Vladimir Zelensky, Vladimir Putin had said, and I'm quoting, "Our adversaries," he doesn't say enemies yet, proceed from the idea that this is supposedly a defensive weapon, right? All right, we'll keep that in mind. That means when they're going to attack, we're going to use it in an offensive way, then we're going to keep that in mind. And an antidote can always be found, end quote. Putin said, speaking to reporters after a meeting of the Russian State Council on Thursday. Now you see, he's not making all kind of jokes and, how the politicians here, like they walk with their wives or whoever they carry on the stage and they point a finger, like they know people, like, hey, I know, and they just look at an empty chair or something. They put that kind of, that form to the side. It's unimportant. They are focused on something else, good or bad, however you want to take it. I'm not saying you should not mix the two of them, but don't lose the whatever is inside, the substance. The president assured that the Patriot deliveries will be in vain and would just prolong the conflict. That's all. Okay, and that's all he has to say. Doesn't say those are weasels, those are retards, those are evil, he's doing this, I'm doing that. Focused on that, let's get the job done. As for the combat characteristics of the Patriot missile systems, Putin said it was, quote, a rather old system that does not work like, say, our S-300. So he makes comparison. He said, well, it's an old system. It doesn't even work as our S-300. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. Maybe that was just a symbolistic, but I don't know. Because I remember when the Patriot were used, I think, in Israel during the first Gulf War. I know that Saddam sent some Scud missiles towards, or something, some missiles towards Israel. Those missile systems had about between, I don't know, like 12 and 20% accuracy. So let's say out of 10, they would shoot down 1 or 2, between 1 and 2. And then the rest of, let's say, 8 or 9 would going through. But that was then. Things improved. That's true. But I don't know. The US promised to send a battery of Patriot missile systems to Kiev as part of a fresh package aid, which includes $1 billion worth of weaponry taken directly from the US military's own stock. Okay, that's good. Do that. And Putin says that our goal isn't to further whip up the Ukrainian conflict, but on the contrary, to bring this war to an end. We are striving in this direction and will continue to do so, end quote, Putin said. All armed conflicts end one way or another with some kind of negotiations on a diplomatic track. Russia never refused negotiations with Ukraine. It was Kiev that prohibited itself from dialogue, end quote. Remember, Putin here was slammed by the weasels that he used the word war instead of using military operation, special military operation, but referring to the whatever happens in Ukraine. Well, I think it turned into a war since the Russians realized that with the help of the Western countries, this is not actually a little special military operation. Those guys just jumped in with a lot of support, which it was not about Russia and Ukraine, it was about Russia and NATO. So that was not a military operation for them. Switch the word into war, some say. Well, I think there's a, you can look at it both ways, but it's no more military operation, that's for sure. So we can celebrate here and, applaud and hold the lights and invite and tell that Zelensky is like Churchill or like whomever, like George Washington. No, we can't say George Washington because he owned slaves, and that would be a bad connotation nowadays, because everything matters for one thing that you did wrong in your life. If you did everything else good but one thing wrong, these idiots are going to focus on that one, and they will just analyze your character based on that, not on the rest. Not on the rest. Like you go to buy a car and it's the perfect car, but the color is not the color you like, and say, see, or the color, I don't know, is a politically incorrect color. Say, well, the car is not good. Why? Is there anything wrong with the tires? Anything wrong with the engine? Anything wrong with the transmission? Anything wrong with the windshield? Anything wrong with the seats? Anything wrong with this? No, the color is inoffensive. The car, therefore, the car is not good. This is what they say now. Oh, did he own slaves? Good. Oh, he can burn in hell. Regardless of whatever they thought, whatever else they did in their lives, if that changes everything for these retards. But remember, if you analyze them under the same, way of analyzing and passing judgment, they won't end up better. But no, because they're perfect. So in this way, as I said, some people focus on the look at me, yeah, well, and the other ones, we're going to have, the outcome is going to be the same. So see you there. And I like that one better than the, jazz hands or something. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.